Good morning, students. Today we are going to see about 7th Standard Social Science, Unit 3 in History, Emergence of New Kingdoms in South India, later Cholas and Pandyas. The Chola are one of among the popular and well-known Tamil monarchs in the history of South India. The elaborate state structure, the extensive irrigation network, the vast number of temples they built. Revival of the Chola Empire. Kaveri Delta forming the core area of its rule and with Urayur as its capital. Later, Rajendra I and his successors ruled the empire from Gangaikonda Cholapuram. Rajaraja I was the most powerful ruler of the Chola Empire. He built the famous Rajarajeshwaram, that is Prakadishwara temple in Tanjavur. His son and successor Rajendra Chola matched his father in his ability to expand the empire. Let's move on to the polity and society. Administration. The central administration was the hands of king. The kingship was hereditary in nature. The ruler selected his eldest son and the heir apparent. He was known as Yuvaraja. The empire for administrative convenience was divided into mandalams, nadus, kurams and gramams. The local governance, the administration worked through various bodies such as Urar, Sabayar, Nagarattar and Natar. Uttarameru inscription, there is detailed description of how members were elected to the committee of the village Sabha in the inscription found there. The process of election was follows. The name of qualified candidates from each ward were written on the palm leaf slips and put into a pot. The elders, the assembly, would encourage a boy to pull out one slip and declare his name. Various committees were decided in this way. Next, move on to revenue. The revenue of Chola state came mainly from the land. The land tax was known as Kanikadan, and also social structure based on land relations. Irrigation. Cholas have important to irrigation. Vatti Vaikal, a criss-cross channel. Vatti is a drainage channel and a Vaikal is the supply channel. The commonly owned village channel was called Ur Vaikal. The Nadu level Vaikal is referred to as Nadu Vaikal. Temples. The Chola period and extensive construction of temples like Tanjavur, Gangaikonda Cholapuram and Tarasram. Trade. The trade was carried out by two groups, Anjuvannattar and Mani Gramattar. Anjuvannattar is a maritime trader. Mani Gramattar is an inland trader. Now, today we are going to see the later Pandyas. Pandyas were one of the three ancient Tamil dynasties that ruled southern India since the 4th century BC, but Korkai, associated with pearl fishes, is believed to have been their early capital and port. They moved to Madurai later, as many early Tamil inscriptions of Pandyas have been unearthed in Madurai and its surroundings under the Pandya kings of Sangam age. Madurai was a great center of culture. Poets and writers of Tamil language gathered there or contributed to the development of classics. The Pandyas had re-established their strong position in South Tamil Nadu by the end of the 6th century AD. After eliminating the rule of Kalapras, but they would not resist the rising power of later Cholas who ruled South India from 9th to 13th century. Thereafter, taking advantage of the decline of Chola power, the later Pandyas re-established their authority. The rule continued until 16th century. Next move on to revival of Pandya kingdom AD 600 to 920. Kadungon recovered Pandya territory from the Kalapras towards the close of 6th century. He was succeeded by two others. Arikesari Maravavarman was the first strong Pandya ruler who ascended the throne in AD 642. He was contemporary of Maravarman I and Narasimhavarman I. Inscription and copper plates praise his victory over his counterparts. Chera, Chola, Pandyas. Arikesari Maravarman is identified with the Koon Pandyan, the persecutor of Jains. After Arikesari, the greatest of the dynasty was Jadila Paranthaga Nedunjadayan, one also known as Varahuna I, the donor of the Velvikudi plates. Nedunjadayan expanded the Pandya territory to include Tanjavur, Tiruchirappalli, Salem and Coimbatore districts. Nedunjadayan's successors Sri Mara, Sri Vallabha and Varaguna II were successively defeated by Pallavas. Later, they would not face the rising Chola dynasty under Paranthaga I. He defeated the Pandya king Rajasimha II, who fell the country in 920. Thus ended the Pandya rule, revived the Kadungon. Next move on to rise of later Pandyas. The Chola became weak in Pandya country after the death of Adhirajendra, the last king of Vijayalaya line. Eventually, the Pandya kingdom would emerge as the only leading Tamil dynasty in the 13th century. Madurai continued to be their capital. Now, Kayal was their great port. Marco Polo, a famous traveler from Venice, visited Kayal twice in 1288 and 1293. He tells us that this town was full of ships from Arabia and China and bustling with business activity. Next move on to Sadayavarman Sundara Pandyan. He was the most powerful ruler of the second Pandya kingdom was Sadayavarman Jadavarman Sundara Pandyan. He brought the entire Tamil Nadu under his rule, which extended up to Nellore in Andhra. The Chera ruler, the chief of Malanadu, accepted his feudatory position and paid tribute to Sundara Pandyan. The Bhoja king of Malwa region, Veera Someshwara, challenged Sundara Pandyan in a war at Kannur. Sundara Pandya defeated Someshwara. Sundara Pandyan succeeded in establishing his authority over the chieftains of Gudalur, Kanjipuram in northern Tamil Nadu, Arcot and Salem in the western region. There were 2 or 3 co-regents who ruled along with Sundara Pandyan. Vikramapandian and Veerapandian. After Sundarapandian, Maravarman Kulasekharan ruled successfully for a period of 40 years, giving the country peace and prosperity. He had two sons. The kings appointed of Veerapandian as a co-regent provoked the other son Sundarapandian, who killed his father Maravarman Kulasekharan. In the civil war that ensued, Veerapandian won and became firmly established in his kingdom. The defeated Sundarapandian fled to Delhi and took refuge under the protection of Alauddin Khilji. This provided the opening for the invasion of Malik Kafur. After Malik Kafur invasion, the Pandyan kingdom came to be divided among the number of kings from the main ruling Pandya's family. In Madurai, a Muslim state subordinate to the Delhi Sultan came to be established. Let's move on to the later Pandya's polity and society. State. First we see about state. Pandya kings preferred Madurai as their capital. Madurai has been popularly as Gudal. The kings are traditionally referred as Gudal Khan, Kudal Nahar, Kavalan. The Pandyas derived military advantage over their neighbors by means of their horse. They imported these horses through Arabs with whom they had commercial and cultural contact. The king claimed that he was ruling according to Manusastra. This doctrine supported the social in the society. Kings and local chiefs created Brahmin settlements called Mangalam or Chadurvedi Mangalam with irrigation facilities. The actual land owning groups are described as the Bhumi Puttirar, otherwise called the Vellalar. Historically, they were locals and hence they were referred to as Nattu Makkal. The communal assembly of this group is Chitrameli Periya Nattar. Next we move on to royal officials. A band of officials executed the royal orders. The Prime Minister was Uttara Mandri. The historical personalities like Manika Vasahar, Kulasi Rayar and Maran Kari worked as ministers. The royal secretariat was known as Eluthu Mandabam. The most respected official were Maran Yeyinan, Satan Ganapati, Yenati Chatan, Tira Tinan, Murti Yeyinan and others. The title of military commanders were. Next move on to administrative division. Pandya Nadu as the Chola state consisted of many provinces known as Vadanadu, which in turn were divided into many Nadus and Kurams. The administrative authorities of Nadus were the Natas. Nadu and Kuram contained settlements Mangalam, Nagaram, Ur and Kudi, where different social groups inhabited. Next move on to village administration. An inscription from Manur, Tirunelveli district, AD 800 provides an account of the village administration. It looks similar to Chola local governance that include village assemblies and committees. Both civil and military power seem to have been versed in the same person. The later Pandya's irrigation. The Pandya rulers created a number of irrigation sources on either side of the rivers Vaigai and Tamirabarani. Channels leading to the irrigation tanks were built. In southern Tamil Nadu, like the Cholas, Pandyas introduced the new irrigation technology. Irrigation works were done by local administrative bodies, local chiefs and officials. Repairs were mostly undertaken by local bodies. Sometimes traders also dug out tanks for irrigation. Religion. Pandya's external patronage of Vedic practice, well-liquid copper plates as well as inscriptional source mention the rituals like Aswamedha Yaga, Hiranyagarbha and Vajayapeya Yaga conducted by every great Pandya king. The impartiality of ruler towards both Saivism and Vaishnavism is also made known in the invocatory portions of the inscription. Temples of both sects were patronized through land grants, tax exemption and renovation. The Bhakti movement of the time promoted the heterodox scholars of a debate. Many instances of the defeat of Buddhists and Jainis in such debates are maintained in Bhakti literature. The Pandya kings of the period supported and promoted Tamil and Sanskrit. Next, move on to temple. Medieval Pandyas and later Pandyas did not build any new temples but maintained the existing temples, enlarging them with the addition of gopuras and mandabas. The monolithic mega-size ornamented pillars are the unique features of the medieval Pandya style. The sculptures of Shiva, Vishnu, Kottavai, Ganesha and Subramanya are the best specimens in these temples. Pandyas specially patronized the historic Meenakshi temple at Madurai and kept expanding its premise by adding gopuras and mandabas. Next, move on to traders. Arab settlements on the west coast of southern India from 7th century had led to the expansion of their trade connection to the east coast because the government of the east coast pursued for more liberal and enlightened policy towards overseas traders. In Kayal, there was an agency established by an Arab chieftain by name Malik ul Islam Jamaluddin. This agency facilitated availability of horse to Pandya kingdom. The vast trade in horse of that time has been recorded by Wasaf. He writes as many as 10,000 horses were imported into Kayal and other ports of India, of which 1,400 were to be of Jamaluddin's own breed. The average cost of each horse was 220 dinars of red gold. Next, we